I was bullied all my life. Chase, fastest guy in the neighborhood, couldn't catch me. Went to high school and first day of classes, I decided I was going to break into the pencil line where you bought all your supplies. And when I got to the front of making my way, a voice came out of the background and said, "Where are you going, big boy?" Big boy being 5'7", 275. I was a pretty big kid at 15 years old. And as I'm going to the front of the line, it says, "Not on my watch." That voice ultimately became a friend of mine for 55 years. He was my wrestling coach. So he said, "If you're so bad, why don't you come out for wrestling?" My answer to him, "Anybody can wrestle." He says, "You come out." Well, long story short, 4 or 5 months later, I'd lost about 60 pounds and I'd grown about 3 inches. And 3 years later, I'd become a state champion, runner-up. I was second in the shot put state of Illinois for 2 years in a row because I wrestled into the track season. I didn't spend as much time as some of the guys who went higher. Discus record in the high school lasted for many, many years. And eventually I was recruited by Wisconsin, where I went to school initially. Lost my focus. Started as old folks smelling in the armpit. You may have heard that before. You know, it's time to smell yourself. And thought I had all the answers. And they said, "Well, Mr. Pickens, it's obvious you don't have a real interest in education, so we're asking you to leave." So the first time they did it, I was able to negotiate getting back in. The second time, they said, "No, it's obvious, so there's no negotiation. You're gone." I said, "Well, how long am I gone?" They said, 6 years. I said, 6 years? I said, "Yeah, when you bump your toe twice, you get double penalty." So that's what happened. And after that, came home, and the same coach that had engaged me in wrestling, I called him and says, "I'm going to join the Army. I just flunked out of school." He says, "Oh no, come on home. And let me take you to World's Fair," because in '64, that's what Olympic trials were. So, long story short, I went to the fair, qualified, and made the Olympic team for 1964. At which time, I later only found out, maybe 4 years ago, that I was the first African American to represent the United States of America in modern-day Olympics. Now, if you want to go way back to the beginning, Nubians, which are African blacks, were dominated the sport, and through the evolution changes. But I was the first one in modern times to wrestle for the United States. I had 2 teammates. One was, name was Charlie Tribble, God rest his soul. He passed away. And one that I spoke to as early as this morning, Bobby Douglas. He stayed in the wrestling game, and he's a force to be reckoned with in the wrestling arena at this time, not as a wrestler, but as an administrator and a wonderful coach. Eventually went to work for the city of Evanston in an area I loved, tree trimming. And then Uncle Sam came after me and I had to go to school. So I called my coach. And Alex Agassi at Northwestern was good friends with my coach. Northwestern had tried to recruit me, but I chose Wisconsin over Northwestern. So by that, state of Northwestern after me says that I wasn't too stupid. It's just I had lost my focus and my direction and fell prey to entrapments of a new kid on the campus and all the things that are thrown at you. No drugs, no whiskey. But anyway, he called George Kelly at Nebraska and said, "We got a good guy who needs another chance." George recruited me out there. When I walked through the arches of Nebraska, I never looked back, not one time. So I went on and on. The thing that really occurred there, which was kind of funny, is that with my class, you get drafted by your class in football. And at that time, it was AFL and NFL, American Football League, National Football League. So I got drafted by Kansas City in 2nd round, and I got drafted by Chicago Bears 3rd round. Well, it didn't resonate with a lot of the players at Nebraska because I hadn't played 1 minute of football, and I got drafted higher than anybody on that team. So that created some challenges. We took care of those. It wasn't a real big deal. Had a varied career, The one thing about defining moments, if they don't destroy you, they certainly build strength in you that you didn't know you had. They do.